Hello there, welcome to a new video. This is a quick tutorial on making monitors and television screens have light sources that don't affect the environment. Now, when we usually add a light to our scene, we are using things such as point lights, spotlights, and a range of other light sources. The problem with things like point lights is they affect the entire scene. And ideally, we don't want something that's going to hit the wall behind. But it works in this case for this because we're actually trying to affect the environment. But because we've got some things like monitors in the scene, ideally we need a light that makes a thing like a monitor or a television screen to kind of light up. So one thing I would look towards is React lights. Now, the thing about React lights is you can set a kind of boundary box and a kind of barn angle around the actual light source itself. So when you import an asset into a scene, so for example, this asset here, I've exported it in, and we can see it has a bit of a background, but unfortunately, it's not bright like a monitor would be in real life. So when we add a light source into the scene, we can essentially target it around the monitor itself, and in turn it won't affect the rest of the environment itself. So from there, we can actually add it to the actual prop itself, and we can set the parameters for the monitor itself. So in this case, we've kind of targeted it around the monitor itself. And we've worked it around and angled it against the actual prop itself. So we've got the actual light source. What we can also do as well is we can actually change the color, and we can actually pick around what type of color we're going to go for. So in this case, we're going to go for the actual scene itself. So maybe we might target that, and instead of actually manually picking a color, we can actually pick it off based on the actual wallpaper desktop or whatever color in the scene we're going to work with. Essentially the values are all RGB, but because we've picked the actual monitor, the actual thing we're going to be using, it uses the color and enhances it. So if we hypothetically move it across to the actual prop we've targeted, what you'll see there is the actual prop itself will have a much better light source and will feel a lot more embedded into the world rather than its original counterpart. And we can actually use it for a bunch of practices, big monitors, small monitors, television screens, essentially anything that's not wanting a big shadow output on anything, and essentially want something that works against a flat surface. It works particularly well. So hopefully, using the radius and the height and things, you can actually work it around the objects that you're working on. So in this case, we've worked it on that one, and we can actually select a width, we can select the height, we can select the depth, just so then we've got the right amount of color. Because if I hypothetically deactivate this, what you'll notice is that actually the color's a lot brighter. So when we go into game view and we look at the actual asset themselves, you'll find that they're actually a lot nicer. Hope it helps, and happy modding.